Use the power of discovering new habits to create success in all areas of life. Body, fitness and nutrition, being, spirituality, passion and purpose, balance, marriage, kids and relationships, business, marketing, sales, leadership and systems. Transform your life by learning how habits work. And now your host, husband, father, entrepreneur, trainer, coach, and warrior, Jesse Buell.
Welcome back to the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast. I am your host, Jesse Buell, and today I have a beautiful, hot guest, very special guest on, my wife, aka CEO Mom, Katie Ewell. How are you?
Good. You always start that out so loud.
I know, I like it.
Welcome back to.
It kind of gets me. It gets me excited, and I know it triggers you a little bit, and like kind of rattles you. So
that's a great reason to do it. Yeah.
So I thought today we would talk about kind of like this freestyle, just kind of see what's going on.
Freestyle? Yeah,
like this habit of freestyle. Like we're not just going to really have any specific topic, but maybe just stuff that comes up inside of our marriage boot camp. One of the things that I think came up on Monday was how, one couple, like when we're looking at a couple, when you say you're committed, and when I say I'm committed, they're completely different levels of commitment. But when we come into that conversation, I always expect you to be committed at the level I am.
Right.
And, sometimes depending on what it is you expect me to be as committed as you at certain things. And I could go into this more in detail, but let's just start there.
Okay. Well, what I remember was it was actually saying yes.
Yeah.
So when you're asked to do something, say, your husband calls you or your wife calls you and they're like, hey, can you get this done or whatnot? And a lot of times our first reaction is yes, like I'll do it. And a lot of times we don't look at everything else that we're doing and we commit to something, and someone else's level to yes can be different. They can be different.
Right.
And a lot of times, there are certain people that are people pleasers. So they say yes because they don't want to let someone else down. Not looking at, their plate's already full and they're not going to be able to tackle it. So then the person on the other end who they've said yes to, is like, hey, are you going to get this done? You said you'd get this done. And it creates a lot of
chaos
in a marriage.
Yeah. So, I kind of look at it this way as, you may say, hey, can you, do this for me? And instead of looking at all the things that I'm doing already, I might just say yes because, of course, like my first instinct is, I want to help you out.
Right.
I want to support you, but I don't really look at everything else. And then there's other times where you may say no, and I might get pissed off because of it because you're not actually helping me. And so there's kind of two sides of that, because sometimes we expect our spouse to say yes, and then when they say no, we get frustrated. And so it's hard sometimes for the spouse to even ask the question.
Right. And I think there's a lot more that comes into play with, just asking. And for instance, say you called me up and you have no idea what's going on at home. And the first thing you say is, hey, do this, or can you do this? And it's like, oh my gosh, like chill out. Like maybe ask me what's up. What are you doing? How's your day? And then be like, I'm working on this. Could you maybe check this out for me? Or could you call this company? And another thing that came up for me, and we didn't bring this up in Marriagehood, but it would be cool to kind of talk about. But as the way I was picturing things, because you've said to me before, when you've asked me to do certain things, maybe for the business or something outside of my CEO mom role, like my number one priority, whether it be the kids or the house, and I will say yes, but I won't run to it or get it done at the urgency you would, because that is your number one. And the flip side of that is I may need something done at home that to me is very important, but different for you, maybe building a cabinet or, you know, putting something away for me or fixing, you know, and that's not a priority in your day-to-day, you know, life. So I also think that comes into play a lot.
Okay, so what I'm hearing you say is you're committed to your like priorities that are the higher ones on your list, and I'm committed to my priorities on my list, but you are not committed at the level I'm committed on my priorities, and I'm not committed to the level that you are of your priorities.
Well, and I wouldn't say not committed, because I think we're both fully committed, but we have different, I mean, if you really think about it, like a CEO mom is not going to drop everything to check out a website or reach out to a graphic designer if the kids need to be fed. And to you, it's like, oh my gosh, like you guys can chill a minute. Let me answer this email or get back to this person. And it's just kind of how, I mean, it's just really how it is. And so it's learning to kind of dance with each other's like priorities and number ones to be like, okay, I get it. Like I'm asking you to do something that may like be of urgency to me, but if it's that urgent, maybe I should take care of it.
Yeah. And, you know, I mean, this is kind of a big thing because I think, you know, I could say you're more committed than me at certain things around the house, which would be like cleaning, you know, laundry, in a sense, doing some of the stuff with kids, or like you said, building a cabinet, where if it came to work, you're probably not as committed at doing like all those little things that I would do. And that's where I think we make the mistake is we overcommit
Right.
to things that aren't really our priority,
Right.
or maybe our number one or two. And that's where we run into this mistake, not necessarily because we're not committed. Like I'm committed to, you know, do the laundry and help, but just maybe not at the priority level that you would be.
Right. It's not on the front of your brain, really. Like the front of yours is hustle, go mode, work, your work. And mine is, you know, kids to school, what's going on, homework, groceries, laundry, activities, you know, all those, the calendar. So it's just, and it's not right or wrong, obviously. It's just, and
priority and an order of importance on our, you know, like.
Well, and it's why we are really so good at doing those things, because we know what we're good at and we focus on those things. So just bringing it back around, and it doesn't have to be the whole podcast, but yeah, it was, you know, it was a couple, and she is a stay-at-home mom, and you know, he's grinding at work.
CEO
and
mom.
What'd I say?
Stay at home.
Oh, stay at home. Sorry, CEO mom. Yeah, because she's not a stay-at-home mom, but she has a lot of, you know, things going, and she just, she would say yes because of course she wants to, but then it was like the overwhelm would kind of set in of all these other things she has to do, and it's like, oh my gosh, but I committed to this. So yeah, and what we worked with them was really, you know, instead of just saying yes, which she has this huge heart and she doesn't want to let anyone down, it's take a minute and, you know, kind of look at your schedule, see, maybe find out when this needs to be done by, the level of importance, and then commit to it.
Yeah, and I look at like saying yes is a huge problem, not only, you know, in marriage, but just in life, of just pleasing
Right.
people, not wanting to say no, not wanting people upset at you. And you know, I think the biggest thing with saying yes is when we say yes, we're really saying no to ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's who it hurts the most, because a lot of times, you know, we get in this place where we commit to too many yeses, and we really start to say no to time with ourselves, space with ourselves. And then what ends up happening is we almost get paralyzed and we end up doing nothing. Which,
There's a breakdown. I mean,
Yeah.
there's definitely a breakdown. It's like, I'm very visual, but it's continuing to put something heavy, another weight
sandbag
on
or,
your back, and continually but then you break, and you really do, and then you're really no good, because I mean that obviously, I mean that can cause, you know, sickness. I mean that can cause
yeah, and I can envision, you know, as you're saying that, like a backpack, and it's like we just keep piling on,
you keep picking up rocks,
sand or
Yep.
or rocks, and the backpack gets heavier. But when you can say no, but say it in a way where it's like, hey, you know what? I can't commit to this. I'm a no. And so all of a sudden now that bag begins to start leaking out sand and leaking out rocks, and things become lighter.
Right.
And you can actually be committed to the things that you're really committed to instead of just saying yes to everybody.
Well, and I can share, something that was really hard for me this week to actually, I had said yes. It's my sister-in-law's baby shower this Saturday, and I was to fly home to Seattle and go to the baby shower. But things literally started piling up with back to school night and a football game and Julia's cheer choreography. And it was like, oh my gosh, and I'm like, I feel horrible that I'm going to have to say no. But I tell girlfriends and CEO moms and, every wives in our marriagehood, like, you have to put you first. You have to take care of you, and travel takes a lot out of you. So, I think a lot of times too, when we think of saying no, we think about how the other person, we create this story of how the other person's going to react. And for me, it was my sister-in-law, but I literally called her and we talked for like 45 minutes. And I'm like, we talked about how she's feeling. And I said, I'm not going to be able to make it. I have too many commitments to the kids, to Jess, and it's just not, and she was actually amazing. She was amazing. She was she's like, I get it.
And you probably connected more in the 45 minutes than you would have flying, up to Seattle to be at her baby shower and having everybody around. So 100%. Think about, when I think of yes or no, it's not from your head, it's from your heart. And when you say yes or no, it's just a commitment that you're saying, yes, I'm going to do this, or no, I really want to, but I can't commit to it right now. And most of the time when you can say no, and say it in a way where it's not from your head, it's like, no, you know what? I have way too much, on my plate. I cannot commit to this right now. And I'm going to be a no, but I'm going to be a no because I don't want to let you down.
Right.
And
I don't want to let myself down. Like, I don't want to exhaust myself and not be there. You just start, thinking of all of that. And it's not I'm too busy, or, it's literally from the heart. No.
Yeah. And I don't really believe anybody's too busy. I just think.
No, I know. That's why I said it's not that. Cause
you're either a yes.
Post on that?
Yeah. You're either a yes or a no. There's no such thing as too busy.
Well, I think the too busy comes in from a guilt.
Or too busy comes from saying yes to everybody else and saying no to you. And so everything just piles up and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm overwhelmed. I'm getting anxiety.
Right. So the moral of the story, be okay with saying no.
No.
Yes.
No. Are you okay with saying no?
Yes.
Okay.
I used to want to do it all of it, everything. And one of my girlfriends once gave me a quote. It said, you can do anything, but not everything. And so to me, that's like really empowering. I could do, yeah, sure. But that doesn't mean it's going to be good for me.
Okay. Say that one more time.
You can do anything, but not everything.
Who can do that?
I can.
You can do what?
I can do anything, but not everything.
All right. I like that.
Okay.
So I think we're going to end the show on that. How about that?
Great. I'm going to say yes.
Okay, good. All right. So thanks for being on today.
Oh my gosh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's great to connect.
On the mics.
On the podcast.
On the podcast.
And you're looking hot from here.
I'm sure. I'm sweating.
Hey, sometimes.
I'm still, I'm not wearing
sometimes
my same
sweating
workout
or
clothes.
Sometimes not trying is when you look the hottest.
Okay.
All right. So if you guys are looking to connect further with a group of like-minded people, join myself and so many others in the Habit-Based Lifestyle Secrets group on Facebook, where I will be dropping daily habits to help you live to your full potential. If you want to be one of our next case studies and begin living this habit-based lifestyle, maybe you have questions, comments, or requests, feel free to reach out to me, Jesse@habitbasedlifestyle.com. Until next episode, have a great day.